Starting lineup, uniforms, and apparel present the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. This is episode number 28. It's great to be back with you guys once again. Want to thank Mitch Scott as starting lineup, uniform, and apparel. It's great to have him on board as the presenting sponsor. We're a day late. I apologize for that. We had to postpone from Wednesday, but we're back with you today. It's episode number 28, and we got a couple of beauties from the Lower Rocks coming up here shortly. Mark ROZAK and KRIS Dobinson. So we're going to introduce them shortly. What I want to do, though, is give you an idea of who's coming up on the podcast upcoming. It's a great list of guests we have upcoming. In terms of this week, tomorrow we have Jordan Turcotte and Gatlin Bird of the Ripley Wolves coming on board. On Monday, the 13th, it's Reed Simmons from the Shallow Lake Crushers. On the 15th of July, Curtis Ron joins us from the Milverton Four-Wheel Drives. And then on the 17th of July, Bill Ryan, the GM of the Tillsonburg Thunder, joins us. On the 20th of July, that week starts with Andrew Boyle and Justin Graham, number 8 of the Durham Thundercats. On the 22nd, president of the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, Gord Lamont, joins us. And then on the 24th of July, it's Brock Hare and Colton McGuire of the Shelburne Muskies. The last week of July is already booked up as well. Brady Anderson of the Minto 81s joins us on the 27th, followed by first-year head coach Ben Pielek of the Laura Rocks on the 29th. And then you have Kyler and Cole Keating, the brothers from Petrolia, coming in on the 31st. So like I say, the month of July is booked up completely, and we can be more excited for the guests that we have upcoming on this podcast. This podcast has been nothing short of amazing for me to be able to speak to the incredible people that are involved in this league and how great this league is. So, definitely keep watching and keep viewing because it is spectacular. Speaking of spectacular, you do have a couple of real gems here. And from the Allura Rocks, number 8, Mark ROZAK, and number 2, KRIS Dobinson. We introduce them right now. So we're pleased to be joined at this time by our guests on today's episode of the podcast, number 28, a couple of real beauties from the Allura Rocks. Number 8, Mark ROZAK, up in the top corner there, and number 2, KRIS Dobinson down below. Hey, guys, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Hey, how are you? Thanks, Andrew.
No problem. It's you know what? First question I'll get off the top here, just because I like to ask everybody just kind of how they're doing. I just want to get an update because COVID obviously affected everybody a bit differently, no question about it. I just want to know kind of how you guys are doing. If you've been still working, how's the family life? Just give us a little update of how things are going. Anyone can fire away. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rosie, go ahead, buddy.
Throw me right into the fucking fire, eh, buddy? Thanks.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm COVID's affected us all. I just got back to work actually a couple weeks ago, so that's pretty good. It's better getting back to like normal life is a lot better. Family life, it's weird not seeing your family for a while, you know what I mean? Especially if you're very distant away. Like my family's up in Wasaga and up in Sabo and that. And I have actually my family in Brampton I didn't even get to see because of restrictions and things like that. So it's good that we're getting back to normal and phase 2 and getting back on ice is pretty cool too because I was going crazy without playing hockey too. So I imagine we all were, right? So
right.
That's my take on the COVID there.
Yeah, Dobby, how you been, man?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, keep busy. Been kind of steady. I'm a carpenter framer, so hasn't been too much time off, but we've been keeping steady in this heat and getting through it. But the girlfriend's had some time at home there the last 4 months as she's in a salon there, so they don't go back for a bit until phase 3, I think. But it's been going good. Sure missing the game though, whether it's ball hockey or we can find some ice, that'd be good too.
Right. Like that's obviously a big hot ticket item, right? Is how much everybody's missing sports. Like at this time of the year normally, guys, like what would you be doing like, to kind of fill your time when it comes to sports in general? What would you be doing?
Yeah. Rosie, you go.
You go. Give her Dobby, go, bud.
Yeah, go, bud.
Oh, Frank. Honestly, just be playing some ball hockey down in Barrie. We have a league down there. And
That's that
it's a men,
3HL league, right?
it's actually just a men's A league in
Sorry.
Barrie.
Right.
Yeah. It's just ball hockey, but yeah, it's good. And then there's some tournaments and to keep the legs going a bit, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the sports. Just kind of keep it rolling type thing.
Right on. What about what about you, Mark? What have you been doing? What do you know? What would you normally be doing if?
You know what? Well, I still train. So I'm a hockey coach as well. So I work at JSI, just shooting in Oakville there and in Etobicoke. So we train kids and stuff like that. Right now, we're actually pretty busy right now, but I would be training and playing ball hockey and playing men's league. Getting on the ice, you know what I mean? Just staying fit. It's weird. It's really weird to think about it, but yeah, things have changed a whole lot in the past few months, right? Like, now that I've thought about it. Thanks, Andrew.
Well, I don't bring people on this podcast to get sad about the fact that sports aren't really, that they've changed as much as they have. But, obviously there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but we just don't know what it's going to look like. I think that's the scary part, right, guys?
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure.
I wonder how it's going to affect our league, man. Are we ever going to get back on the ice and playing and stuff like that? I mean, if the NHL and minor hockey are going back anytime soon, I can't see us going back really either,
Well, and there's no question it's going to look very, very different. I mean, from a number of different levels, league, team sponsorship from local businesses, that might not be there. How are you supposed to play games without fans? That drives a lot of the revenue for a team. And, like you say, it's going to be really interesting if it's going to be a shortened season or a full season. No matter what, it's going to be weird no matter what when we go back.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess this is the new normal, so we got to get used to it one way or another, right? So
the
transition is going to be weird, but you got to deal with it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now let's talk about last season, because it was one of it was really interesting, especially in Elora, because I followed you guys throughout the entire year because you were right there in the thick of it. You guys end up finishing 10th, but you deserved a lot better fate in terms of where you should have ended up. But it was a tight race all the way around. So you guys could have just as easily been there any other season. But like I say, you guys get 10th, you get the bye. But and take me to the regular season and look at it as a whole. If you guys can evaluate that for me, just how you thought the season went. Go ahead, Mark. You can lead us off, man.
It was a roller coaster of a season, that's for sure. We were up, we were down. We went through winning streaks, losing streaks. I think we went through it all. I think in all fairness, we could have put together a better team on a regular basis.
Right.
I know myself, I missed a ton of games because I was coaching and I was working.
Right.
And I think a lot of the guys are going through that as well, because I think we have 3 or 4 coaches on our team or something. And a lot of guys just missed games because they had games or they're working shift work and things like that, right? So I think that had a lot to do with our team.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? What did you think of the regular season?
Yeah, it was good. It was something new for me as I transferred over from Shelburne Muskies there. So it was a good, great core of guys. Definitely in Laura, and they're all beauties. And some nights we'd show up with 2 lines, right? And it was probably like that for 3/4 of the year. And the lungs are screaming uncle, come third period, but we made it through. Same as Rosie, it was up and down, right? We had some hot streaks, and I think when we had our main core and even a full set of even 3 lines, 4 lines, 3.5 lines or whatever, we had a good team. We had a solid team.
Right.
And it's too bad we couldn't get a few more W's, but I guess that's the way it is sometimes.
Now, take me back, if you guys can recall. I know it's been a little while since hockey has been played. Almost 3 months or so, but take me back to that Elora series the Milverton series, because man, was that good. I wish I could have been there for those games after seeing some of the scores that were posted afterwards. But man, how intense was that from a player's perspective, guys?
We have a bit of a rivalry with those guys, going back to last year and going 7 games and things like that. And, both teams know each other real well. But yeah, we there was a lot of goals in that series. I think some games we had 2 lines and stuff.
Right.
And we showed up with our good core group of guys. We definitely showed them that we could definitely compete in that series. But it was tough come third period with playoff intensity, bodies flying. You know, I know I was hurt one game that I had to continue going through because we only had 2 lines, right? So
Of course.
there's those kind of.
Oh, we lost him. We'll get him back.
All right.
Oh, we're just waiting on Mark ROZAK to rejoin us here. Dobby, what about this? Like, what did you think from this series, man? Do you want to just hop in here while we wait for Mark to come back?
Yeah, no worries. Get him back here shortly. But yeah, it went the distance there a bit. We were down 3-1 in the series, and yeah, game 5 was big. Back at home, we had to win. I think we had 2 lines leading up to that, and game 5 we had a full bench, 4 lines, and we won that game. I forget what the score was, but we had a great game at home, and then brought it back to Milverton down there, and yeah, we lost in overtime there. It was a tight one, high scoring games like Rosie was saying there, and yeah, it was a back and forth battle. It was, they're a good club, Milverton.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And I think, like I say, I wish I could have been at some of those games. I mean, I was tied up with my own series, but the really interesting thing about that was, yeah, looking at some of those scores and being like, oh man, I can't imagine how intense those games were.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you real quick, in terms of like, so you guys had a bye going into that. So there was a little bit of time there where you didn't really play any games, or maybe got on the ice once or twice. Do you feel like that might have been at a disadvantage for you guys having that bye?
Yeah, I hear you. It could have been because the other team coming off, the first round. There it is.
There's Mark. He's back now. Can you just tilt your phone, Mark? We got some technical difficulties that we worked through.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Go ahead, man. We didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no worries. I think sitting for that first round kind of took a toll on us, right? We're just practicing. I don't even know if we had a few practices. Guys were away, school, and it was just a bit of a tough time there. And then we kind of regrouped and started off in the second round there. But yeah, I think missing that first round is definitely key. It gives you momentum right going into the second, and from then on.
Yeah, got that already.
Yeah, Mark, I was just asking Chris while you were away there that about the bye that you guys would have had in between when the season ended and when the Milverton series started.
Yeah, that's tough sitting around. Milverton's all battle ready, and they already went through it against Shallow, who always puts up a good fight always.
They're a tough team.
So, yeah. So
yeah, for sure. So
they were ready to go, and I think we kind of took a while. We were spinning our wheels there for a little bit. You know what I mean? But,
sure.
That's how it goes, I guess.
No, you're right. Now, in terms of the season, guys, like if you could pick out a moment from the season that you could say stands out above the rest, if you have any sort of good memories that you could pick out, like a good story that you could share with us, you want to go away and do that? Go ahead. I want to hear it, man. I'm excited.
I got a good one. So last game of the season, me and my good buddy Craig Byford, our goalie, probably who he is.
Yeah, what a beauty. I saw Craig play against us, and I saw Austin Hoagie play against us, and just outstanding goalies.
He's a beauty, yeah, for sure. They both are, yeah.
So last game of the season, Byford's like, I don't know if we should trek down Tilly, there's a huge snowstorm coming, and I don't know if we should go or not, eh? So I traveled down from Brampton, and we get there, it's just coming down, eh? And we're on the group chat. We see only 10 guys are going to show up for this game, and we're just like, oh my god, we got to play Tilly, who's battling for fourth and fifth there.
Yeah, they were.
Was it like a three-way? Yeah, there was like a three-way tie or something. They needed to win real bad, right? So we had 10 guys, and they had their studs out and just ready to go and flying around. And I told Byford, I was like, hey, guys, man, you should probably bring your player gear. And he's like, what? No, I'm not going to. So and he's like, you know what? I probably will, actually. So he brought his player gear and played out.
Oh, no.
He played out that game, eh? And I think it was like one of the first 2 shifts. He just got absolutely. He turned around. Puck was coming around the boards like a ring around. Picked up the puck and just got leveled. We were all like worried and like, oh man, he just pops right up. He's a cross player. He's used to the beatings, right? But like, he popped right up, stayed right down the ice. The guy scored 2 goals and had to
No
our
way.
backup goal. Yeah, scored 2 goals. I think that was really cool to see. I don't think I've ever seen that in my entire life. So I think that was a real positive coming out of that.
Oh yeah.
That's a good story, man.
Yeah, for sure. We never hear the end of it either, eh?
No, next day in the room, he's just howling, giving it to the boys, eh? Oh man,
Yeah. He's a great guy, beauty.
yeah.
Well, and the best part about that is that he probably had more points in that one game than a lot of guys the whole season.
Yeah, for sure. Eh?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Donnie, what do you got from the year, man, that stands out besides ROZAK's story?
Yeah, that was a funny one. Holy frig, that was good. Yeah. Hard to top that one, but yeah, hockey related, I guess. I probably like game related.
Sure, yeah,
type
whatever,
thing.
man.
Yeah, we were down in Saugeen, Port Elgin there, and always a snowstorm or something just getting there, right?
Always.
And yeah, it always seems to get away. And I think throughout the game, we have a great goaltender, eh? Colin Dunn. And like 3 great goalies, Greg, Byford, Hoagie, and Dunner, and getting Colin there, like he helped us out huge. And I think we were down 5-1 in the game against Port Elgin going into the 3rd period, and we had like 9 skaters.
Okay.
And we were basically bagged, halfway through the 2nd, we're just sucking wind, and Colin just like kept fighting, and I think we came back in the 3rd. We're like, oh yeah, how's this gonna go, right? Are we gonna get is it gonna turn out to be like 9-1? It's a huge embarrassment. But we slowly clawed back and made it like 5-4 with like 9 guys, and it was just one of those games, like it just sticks out, and it was a great game, and Colin stood on his head, and it was we didn't give up, with 9 guys.
Yeah.
It's just something to remember, right? One of those games, right? And yeah, it was good. It was good though. Yeah.
I would speak of that too a little bit, because that's really an interesting thing that I've seen from all the players that I've had on this podcast, and they've always spoken numbers and how important that is to a team's success. And having a couple guys from Allure on the podcast earlier this season, Trevor Lord, a good friend of the show, and Andrew Weiland.
Right.
They spoke of numbers, and that being a huge, kind of a tough battle that you guys had to go throughout the seasons. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we played half the season shorthanded. So and it shows, in the standings, and when you're going to the 3rd period, and your legs are burning, and they're just ready to go and flying at you. It's tough, man. Like it does show a lot of determination, and we battled through it. And there were some games, like I remember we had 2 lines or something out in Dufferin, I think. And we went into overtime and lost that game. Well, that was a tough one to lose, but it's tough to roll into a game and just just keep going against 4 lines like that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think Wales hit the nail on the head when he was talking. I think he made the same point that I did. It's just a physical game, you know what I mean? And teams just wear you down. And you can only do so much, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
We're only human.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So it does take a toll on you, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that it does take a toll on you for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, right? Like, the thing is that, a lot of us, we're not getting any younger, and to be able to go out there and be taxed by the 3rd period is just tough, no matter what. And if you have a surplus of bodies, that definitely makes a big improvement on, like I say, whether or not you can be successful, go in there and pick up a W when you need it, especially in this league, considering how balanced competitively it was last year. One of the most competitive seasons I've seen in a long time. Dobby, you could speak to this because you've been in the league a little bit longer than Mark, but you've seen how the league has grown.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely has grown for sure since I first entered. I'm 28 now, and played first year actually in Durham when I was 21 there, and then obviously Shelburne, then Elora. But yeah, it's definitely people say it's like, oh yeah, it's a fighting league and all this. I'm like, you know what? Like I've seen maybe a handful of fights, and it's not cracked up to what people say it is, like on the fighting aspect of it. But
Well, it's not like that anymore.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably before we arrived, it was maybe a little more like that. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's a great league and like super skilled, and it's just getting better and better every year. And like you said there, Andrew, this year was really tight all the way around, and it's great to be part of.
I think that was a really interesting thing that made it so exciting this past year for a lot of guys in the league, and it was so competitive, and that you never knew what kind of team you were getting on any given night. Mark, it was your first year in the league. Was it what you expected?
I've known Byford for a while, and I've known some guys that played in the league earlier. I played for Shelburne. They're big, tough guys and stuff, but I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. But I was actually really glad that I did join in. I mean, it's really skilled. There's a lot of skilled players out there, a lot of good defense. I mean, we're not exactly playing against slouches out there, you know what I mean? No. I know there's guys that came from Europe, played in the SPs or in the AHL. You have Theo Peckham there. I went out I had a beer with him after the Shallow game. Me, Byford, and Gunner. Gunner's good buddies with him. So, he was hurt for most of the year, actually. So I think that kind of hurts. I mean, that's a side note, but it's actually a really good league. A lot of good players, a lot of skill. It's actually fairly young too. I didn't realize that there weren't too many old guys out there. So you gotta have a good ticker.
It didn't used to be like that, either. Like this was a very old school game. This was a very old man's game before. Yeah. But now you got a lot of kids coming in just straight from junior, and they're lighting this league up, and they're doing really well. And like I say, they're just bringing a new youthful exuberance into this league that I think is going to really make it more enjoyable from a fan's perspective moving forward.
Yeah, the product's definitely gotten better, when you have young guys come in straight out of junior who are just in great shape and have been playing at that level, or from pro or from Europe or, from the ST or, the Fed or something, and they come in and play, it is a really good professional league. It really is.
Absolutely.
For sure,
Chris,
it is.
Chris, the question I want to ask you is, so it's interesting because you come from other teams. Like, you started in Durham, you played 1 year there, you played 4 years in Shelburne, and then last year, just before, like, I don't know did you get into a game in Shelburne last year at all?
I played one game against Tavistock there. And, I think I played Tavistock like 3 or 4 times last year. So,
fair enough. But, it was good, but the question I want to ask you though is like how interesting is that when you start out in one system, like you played 4 years in Shelburne and then you play all of a sudden in Elora? Like, I guess there's 2 questions here. One is, what is the transition like? And 2, why Elora and why make the change?
Right. I figured you were going to ask that question, but
it's a good question to ask.
Yeah, it's a great question. Great question, rather. Sorry, I got some false teeth up in here. Hard to talk sometimes, but it's great group of guys all the way around, no matter where you go, pretty much. In Durham, it was a great first starting out there. Like I said, when I was 21, great bunch of guys there, great core guys, and the room was great. And then blew out my knee actually the following year, so I missed a year. And then I said, you know what, I'll try Shelburne out, and a little closer to home, that being in Stayner. And had a great coach there in Shelburne, Dave, and he's a great guy to learn from, and he's been in the league for many years. And just learning off of him. Just a great guy. Just enjoyed coming to the rink, and then we got a new coach in there, Tyler, and he's a young guy. He's a great guy too, and he was a buddy of mine, and still is. And I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna try something else, switch it out, and nothing against the team. They're a great organization and a great club, and have nothing against him. Great things to say, and just wanted maybe a change to get out. And
No problem.
I was kind of debating there to go back maybe to Durham because obviously it's close to home as well. But
Right.
I said, you know what? Got a few buddies there, like like Byford and Wellesley there, and a few others. And I'm like, you know what? I'll try it out. And made the jump, and it was a good decision. Like I'm happy with it, and yeah, the boys are great, and too bad we didn't get on the AA side there, but that's all right.
Hey, it's a goal to reach.
Yeah, for
Interest.
sure.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you too. I want to talk to you guys about this. I'm having first-year head coach Ben Pielek come on to the podcast at the end of the month. The hot topic that we had with Trevor and Andrew when they were on the podcast was, how interesting it was as a first-year head coach to come in. And I mean, he's a bit of a younger guy too. But what was it about his coaching that impressed you guys from a player's perspective?
Yeah, he brought some real intensity to the room all the time. He's always this intense guy,
Right.
He always gets us fired up and ready to go. We at times as players didn't really put him in the best situations.
Was that purely based on the numbers, Mark?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
But he never gave up on us. He always gave us positive vibes and put us in our place when we needed to be. It didn't matter if we had 10 guys or 21 guys. He brought the same mentality and the same intensity, and it was really refreshing to see actually.
What impressed you, Mark? Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. He's he obviously played in the league there, Ben, and he's been around for sure, right? And I give him credit, for stepping in, right? A young guy, a young coach, and he did a great job, I thought. And his partner there, Craig, he's a great guy too. Both great guys to learn from, and
Angus is a beauty. He's a great
he's a beauty. They're both
Yeah.
their hearts are right in it, and that just brought more. It's like, you know what? Hey, I want to be here too, right? And same with the other guys,
Exactly.
and their hearts were in the right places. And it was good to see great intensity, and we had some games there where we deserved to get yelled at, and sometimes we got it there from Ben, and you know what? It made us a bit better as a team there, as a unit. But
that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good to hear. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble if I don't mention this, so I'm going to do it now. Friend of the show, Trevor Lord, make sure that he messaged me, and he said that had to ask you guys to talk about him because I don't know if he wanted the limelight or whatever.
Oh yeah, Lordy, eh?
But he's such a good dude, and he's a stand-up guy, and I just wondered if you guys could talk about what impressed you from him this season.
Well, I'll talk about Lordy. He sits next to me in the room.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
He likes to put his stuff all over the place, which kind of gets me a little agitated. I'd tell him, this is the borderline. You can't be passing this borderline, buddy. Like this is ridiculous. But he does that on purpose. And we talk because he's right next to me, and he's a real good guy. He knows the league pretty good too. He's a jet out there.
Yeah,
absolute jet. I played with him, I think, half the year, so that helped me out. Being on the heavier side, But no, Lurdy's a beauty. He's a good guy, all-around guy. He's a jet out there. He can play forward or defense. We actually used him as a utility guy for most of the year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was saying that he played with you guys throughout the season on a line.
Yeah.
That was a good line, eh?
Yeah, it was a great line. Yeah. Frig. I'm not sure if you're done, Rosie, but I guess we'll start talking.
I got one more thing to say. He broke the glass in warm up one game, and that was pretty cool to see. So he's got a cannon too. So he's one to look out for in the future. Yeah, he's definitely an unreal player. But I'm gonna have to put like a borderline in the room next to our stalls or something because it's ridiculous. He puts stuff out there.
Hey, there might be some of them in there anyways. You might have individual stalls that are all glassed together because
That's true, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
It may not be in the budget.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys too about Andrew Weiland because man, was he impressive in the playoffs. He had 3 straight games with a hat trick. It was wild, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, talk about Andrew Weiland.
To elaborate there on Lordy there first too. Yeah, he's a beauty of a guy, and I always say hello to him in the room. He's the first guy kind of I met more so, and he's became a good buddy, and I think he just messaged me there saying, "Oh baby," and I think he knows that we're talking about him. But,
of course.
Yeah, he's a beauty, and yeah, man, can he thread the needle? And he's such a smooth skater, and you couldn't ask for anything better as a teammate and a guy to hang out with. And yeah, when it comes to crunch time, he can sure turn it on, and he can go from defense forward wherever you want. Despite goalie, but he's flawless on the skates, and he's really good. Yeah.
That was Trevor Lord we're talking about, and now we're talking about Andrew Weiland.
Yeah. Sorry, and Wells, yeah, he's a great buddy of mine too, and yeah, he had a great showing there in the playoffs, and
unreal.
He showed up, and he was a rocket. He was on fire. He was that's the best I've actually ever seen him play, and I've played against him and with him for like the past 3 years or whatever, and and
it was about time though, eh?
Yeah, he can shoot the puck.
During the year, man, I think he hit like 300 posts this year, man. Like that guy. Like he couldn't, like the regular season, he had a tough time, but in the playoffs, it was going for him, and it was good to see. See him get that monkey off that back,
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
let me,
yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this, guys, because I mean, we're about 7 minutes to go here, so I mean, we could go longer, but we'll see how things go. I wanted to ask you guys about your hockey uprising because everybody kind of owes it to a different person. There's a lot of people that sometimes guys can say they owe a lot of their hockey success to. If there's some people that you guys could pick out that you owe some of your hockey success to, who would that be?
I would say my older cousin Andy.
Okay.
He got me really interested in the game at a young age. He was a really good hockey player. He played at Oswego State University. And I typically just trained with him, just trying to, follow in his shadow and just kind of nipping at his heels and at family events. Team scored more goals or did this, won this, you know what I mean? So there was an internal competition between us. Obviously, my father pushed me,
Yep.
And I think another person would probably be like one of my old coaches, Mark Turkowicz.
Nice.
A Pee Wee coach. Yeah, he was really good to me. Taught me how to, stick up for myself and really just brought the player out of me rather than, just kind of waiting in the weeds. He kind of taught me how to really take the bull by the horns and
Nice.
give it and take it and really, taught me the game.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What about you, Chris?
Right on. Yeah, I'd have to say, definitely my old man there, my dad. Just building the backyard rinks since we were like knee-high to a grasshopper. I think 4 years old, getting on the skates and yeah, just building the rinks for like probably 16 years in a row until we hit junior, and then just couldn't find the time anymore, right? But that's huge, and that helped for sure, definitely over the years, and learned tremendous amount of stuff, and. Yeah, for sure. And then for me, probably for coaches, probably later in my career, playing hockey probably in 1920, met a good coach there playing junior in Owen Sound. His name was Dana Saunders, and he was a great coach, and old school, right? And he was great. And then and obviously Dave from Shelburne, he's a great coach, great guy to learn from, like I said earlier. And also I met this guy probably 4 years ago, or 3-4 years ago, 2017, and just playing ball hockey, and he's actually a coach and general manager for Team Canada ball hockey, and Mauro Giugini, and he's been huge help and huge inspiration, to keep it going. And he knows the game very well, and he's super smart, and he's a huge asset too, and it's just a great guy to learn from in general too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any sort of like a fond hockey memory that you wouldn't mind sharing with us, like one that stands out from your playing days, like from back in the day? I don't know if you guys could pick one out for me.
I got a lot of memories, fond memories about playing hockey, and that's why I still play. But I would have to say winning a junior championship was pretty huge. Out east, I played out east in Cumberland, in Nova Scotia.
Okay. Yep.
And winning a championship and persevering through it, and it was really cool. It was really cool to really just kind of win the last game of the season. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that really sticks out, and that's what we all play for every year. It doesn't matter if it's men's league, or junior A, senior A, pro. We all want to win the last game of the season and hold that trophy. You know what I mean? So that was a very fun memory.
That was for the Cumberland.
That team has a huge support. I think we had like 2,000 fans at our last game, which was an away game, which we swept the last season, last series, and that's a really, really fun memory for me.
Right on. That was for the Cumberland County Blues, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. 46 points in 33 games.
I actually played 3 years there, so I don't know what the elite prospects is doing over there because they're missing 2 years.
Yeah, I noticed that. Chris, what about you, man? What's one of your fondest hockey memories?
To be honest, it's not too long ago. I have to reflect back to probably 2017 again. Actually, not ice hockey related, but playing ball hockey actually out in Czech Republic. We went out there, and not knowing anyone, on the team, maybe just a few guys here and there, right? But we actually all met at an airport. Make this story kind of short. We actually all met at an airport and kind of, met there. Guys from out east, guys from out west, Ontario, wherever, and all over Canada. And we met and we flew over to Czech Republic. And long story short, we won gold over there, and that's it was a packed barn. You couldn't fit any more Czech fans in there, right? And we were playing the host team there too, so or host country, and yeah, it was great. It was great memory for sure. Yeah.
Right on. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap this up here. I really have appreciated having you guys on. You guys are two of the stand-up guys in the league, and you had a real good product there in Elora. I wanted better for you guys, but you had a hell of a season, and I'm really excited to see you guys again down the road. I'll leave it to you for last words if you have any.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate what you do, Andrew. It's nice. You're part of the Palmerston Mid-281s there, and we really appreciate what you do. And take time out of your day and after a hard day's work, and
Amen,
following you and looking up all the stuff that you do. It's really appreciated, and I just want to thank you there.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah,
definitely makes the league, playing in the league a little bit better, having guys like you, doing what you do, just like Chris said, it makes us feel better, it makes us feel, like we're stars, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, you are. 100%. Guys, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks for joining me.
Likewise.
Okay, thanks,
right.
Andrew.
Have a great day, bud.
Once again, I want to thank KRIS Dobinson and Mark ROZAK of the Elora Rocks for coming onto the podcast today and sharing their stories and talking hockey with us. It's been great having them on, and we look forward to having them on again anytime. They are more than welcome. Speaking of our next episode, we have Gatlin Burt and Jordan Turcotte of the Ripley Wolves coming up. That'll be taped tomorrow. We're really looking forward to that and looking forward to having them on the podcast. If you want to be a part of the podcast, make sure to drop me a line and we'll get you on. I might be taking a break in August, but I haven't decided that yet. We're still trying to figure out what's going to happen for next season. If there's any news on that front, I'll make sure to get it to you. That's my idea, is to try and make sure through the social media that I run that the news is always there for you guys and have an outlet to go to find that news. And I want to be able to have that information as soon as possible to be available to you. So I'll continue to try and do that. My thanks to Mark ROZAK and KRIS Dobinson for being on the podcast today. My thanks to Mitch Scott of Starting Lineup Uniform and Apparel. And once again, my thanks to you, the viewer, for watching another episode of the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. I am Andrew Rogers, the host. This has been episode number 28, and we will see you tomorrow for the podcast number 29 with Gatlin Burt and Jordan Turcotte of the Ripley Wolves. We'll see you then. Have a nice night. Stay safe and stay warm, or stay cool, everyone, because it's a hot one everywhere you go right now. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you.